Good morning, everyone. Good evening and good afternoon to viewers from all walks of life. This is Denzomos, and you're welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking empath free. If you are new on this channel, I talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. I talk about spirituality, and I talk about personal and self-development. And if any of that resonates with you, I invite you guys to join us, give us a like, share the video with friends, and you may subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that have always been with us, you are welcome back, and I thank you for your love and support. I got a question from one of my subscribers, and he was asking me why I haven't been doing a lot of narcissistic videos lately. You know, it's like I kind of gravitate towards different types of subjects. Now, on my channel, of course, you guys already know I talk about so many different kinds of things. We talk about, of course, narcissistic abuse. We talk about spirituality, like I've always said. And we also talk about personal development and growth. Because I've also realized at the end of the day, when you're out of those kind of situationships, you'll be working on yourself, you'll be healing, you'll be developing different things, you'll be starting to develop as an individual. And as the time goes on, I've already been on this journey for about more than 3 years now. So in the early videos I've done, some of my first videos, I was concentrating on narcissism and narcissistic abuse. But of course, on my healing journey, as you continue to heal, you start to step out of that vibration, that kind of energy, and you start to vibrate on higher frequencies. So that also involves talking about different kinds of things and helping other individuals understand that it is not all about the abuse. At the end of the day, you've gone through abuse, but you've healed from it. So now you're gravitating away from it and you're starting to concentrate on different things that matter to an individual. So I came up with this channel to help break empaths free, like I've always said in my videos. It is because I understand the depth of narcissistic abuse. I understand the damages that are caused, that are endured by different individuals around the world. I understand how dangerous it is and how life-threatening it is as well. So it's the reason as to why I came up with this theme of breaking empaths free. So basically, as you're dealing with the narcissist, you have to understand something. The narcissist is very low vibrational. They have nothing going on with themselves. They have nothing going on. They're struggling with different types of trauma. They have got a lot of unhealed wounds. So they need other people to survive. They need other people to thrive. Without a source of supply, I've told you guys continuously, the narcissist is going to decompose. Without a good source of supply, the narcissist, their health will deteriorate, and in worst case scenarios, they are going to decompose. So that's the reason as why they attach. So these are like energy vampires, like you guys already know. So they leech off of other people's energy for them to be able to survive. Now, there's a lot of damage that can be done when you're involved with a narcissist. There's a lot of damage that involves getting attached to a narcissist in some way, shape, or form. This could have been your parent, it doesn't matter. And the things I'm going to mention in this video is specifically regarding the relationship scenarios whereby you're involved intimately with a narcissist. But it can also be things that can be faced when you're in situations whereby you have got sometimes narcissistic parents as well. So the damages, they are endless. I'm going to mention to you the ones that I know. And in the comment section below, I would like someone to mention their own experiences and what they have gone through for as long as they've been involved with a narcissist. So the list is endless. Number one, as a person who has been involved with a narcissist, you're going to experience brain fog. Now, brain fog is whereby you will start to forget a lot of things. You will start to become forgetful about even sometimes the simplest things, You might forget what time you had your dinner. You might forget dropping kids to school. You might forget sometimes what you need to do for the day. So you're always going to struggle with remembering a lot of things. It's because your brain is foggy. The narcissist is seriously infecting you with their own narcissism and their own behaviors and toxic patterns. And most of the times, you're losing yourself in the process. And that's where the brain fog now starts to come in. And you start to become forgetful about certain things. So basically, you're going to also see, have an experience of blurry vision. It is also going to affect your eye, your sight. So you will sometimes have blurry visions whereby you cannot actually see clearly things, or you can sometimes find problems with reading books. So those are the cases where you find out of individuals they're starting to use glasses because they have got some difficult, some very strange eye defects. So a lot of times, people they're losing their sight, people they're having problem with their sight. So blurry vision is also a very common phenomenon with people that are actually dealing with narcissists. So like I've said, the brain is sending very negative signals towards the body. The brain is actually sending negative signals to other parts of the body. And normally your body starts to malfunction. And in most case scenarios, some parts of your body starts to shut down. So the third one I'll talk about in this video, the dangers of dating a narcissist and getting involved for a very long period of time with a narcissist. It will be bloody stools. Sometimes a victim of narcissistic abuse will experience blood in their stools. When you go to the toilet, you may see sometimes you've got stains, blood in your stools. This can go on for a long period of time, but again, as a person who has survived narcissistic abuse, it has been a part of my experience. And at the end of the day, during my healing, everything has gone. So again, it comes down to the energy that you're sucking up from the narcissist. So the energy is too negative, and like I've said, there is so many different parts of the body that are shutting down and are not functioning normally and properly. On top of the bloody stools, the fourth one I'll talk about in this video is the migraines. A victim of narcissistic abuse also will experience migraines. This will be headaches for extensive periods of time. Sometimes you may not really know what is going on. I remember having migraines. I think for me it was like after the 6 months of the narcissistic experience. So migraines will also be a common problem with victims who are suffering and who are enduring long periods of narcissistic abuse. Now, the fifth one, the dangers of getting involved and staying around long periods of time with the narcissist will be addictions. Now, we already know narcissists have got different types of addictions. Now, at some point, of course, we all have different types of addictions, of course. But when you're involved with a narcissist, it doesn't matter. You may have been a person who wasn't a smoker, you wasn't using drugs, you wasn't addicted to different kinds of things. You get involved with this kind of individuals. Again, guys, remember these people are very low vibrational. And a lot of times they're involved with very toxic patterns, including addictions as well. So you may sometimes pick up things like drug addictions. You may sometimes experience porn addiction, sex addictions. Sometimes you may experience drinking. You may develop drinking addictions as well. And so many different kinds of addictions. Addictions are so many, depending on which kind of individual you're involved with or you're dealing with. The sixth danger of getting involved and staying around a narcissist for a long time will be financial abuse. You may not be surprised that sometimes you are behind with the bills. You don't have enough money to pay your rent. You're running. The banks are running after you. You're losing your houses. You're losing your cars. You lost all your money in your bank accounts. A lot of times when you're involved with these guys, these kind of individuals, they are going to abuse you financially. So most of the times you're going to find yourself constantly in debt for some reason. So the seventh one is going to be some people who are involved with the narcissists for a long period of time. They experience skin problems. So this can be acne. You will see sometimes your body developing a rash. You don't know where the rash is coming from. Itchy skin. Sometimes you will notice certain spots around a certain area of your body. So the acne is very common. It's a very common thing that is faced also by the victims of narcissistic abuse. Now, the eighth one, the dangers of being around a narcissist for so long will also be STDs. Now, it is not a secret that narcissists like sleeping around with different kinds of individuals. So the narcissists are very common, very known. They are known to cheat. They are very big cheaters. And most of the times, narcissists don't understand the meaning of protection. So most of the times, you are going to see experience. Sometimes they may come around with a sickness. They may come around with an STD. Because a lot of times when they are cheating, they do not care about protection. So they just go around and sleep around with anyone, whoever comes their way. And these guys, they can even sleep with dogs. They don't care if it's a human being, if it's a dog, if it's a man or a woman. They can even sometimes go around and sleep with other men if it's a man. Or if it's a woman, you will see them sometimes sleeping with other women. So a lot of times you're going to pick up STDs when you're involved for long periods of times with a narcissist. Now, the ninth one, I can talk about the dangers of getting involved and staying around narcissists for a long period of time would be isolation from family and friends. In most case scenarios, you're going to experience a loneliness. You're going to experience loneliness whereby the narcissists do not like you to be around certain individuals that mean well for you. So sometimes you will see yourself forgetting about your family, forgetting about your parents, your brothers. Nobody's calling you. The narcissist has already intoxicated your mind and turned you against your own family and friends. So because the narcissists, they want you for themselves. So they want everything to do with you. They want you in that small box whereby they're able to control you. And they always try to they want you to avoid external influences because they believe if you get involved with certain individuals in your family, members of your family, it is also going to affect your relationship. And most of the times, they do not want any interference from the outside world. So they want you in a little box whereby they're able to control you. So this, most of the times, it causes long periods of isolation from family and friends with a victim that is involved with a narcissist for long periods of time. The 10th one, the dangers of getting involved with a narcissist, is low self-esteem. Now, as a victim of narcissistic abuse, you will sometimes have low self-esteem because the narcissist, normally they know that there is something beautiful about you. So most of the time, they will not actually validate you in any way, shape, or form. So sometimes you will see them coming around and complaining about your body, or why, how comes that all of a sudden you've got a small bum, or how come all of a sudden you've got a funny face, or so they complain about something on your hand, or the way that you dress, or the way that you speak, or the way that you shave your hair, or the way that you braid your hair if you're a woman. So they'll always start complaining about little things about you, and sometimes it is going to cause you to have low self-esteem as a victim of narcissistic abuse. So if you've been with a narcissist and you're seeing them complaining about the little things, it's the things that are your qualities and your personality is actually very intimidating for them. So they're always complaining about those little things because they want you to feel very low about yourself. And sometimes you're even afraid to express yourself in the right way when you go out to the public. When you meet other individuals, you will find always sometimes you're feeling very low about yourself. Now, the 11th one, which is the most common one, is depression. As a victim of narcissistic abuse, you will continuously experience long periods of depression. This can be caused by stress because the narcissist is constantly stressing you on a daily basis. They tell you they want this, and then before you bring it, they tell you, no, that's not what they wanted. They wanted something else. So they're always going to bombard your mind and bombard your thoughts with different ideas. And sometimes you don't even know which direction to follow. So most of the cases, because of this constant invalidation from this kind of individuals, you will sometimes experience stress, and that stress, most of the case, it will lead actually to depression. And we already know the consequences of depression. A lot of times, depression can even lead to death or suicide or different kinds of things in that category. Now, the 12th one, the dangers of getting involved with a narcissist for long periods of time, I will talk about codependency. Now, the narcissists, they usually want to make you believe that it is only you that they can rely on. It's only you that you can rely on. It's only them that you have to rely on. So they will sometimes tell you things like, if you don't, if you leave me, you will never find anyone like me. When you go out there, nobody's going to like you because you're worthless, because you're shit, because you're that, and because you're this. And most of the times, you can believe them because if you don't know that you're dealing with a narcissist, you may sometimes want to believe them because these are maybe sometimes they're your own parents. And they're telling you, if you go, who do you think that is going to love you the same way like your mom or the same way that I do or the things like that? And sometimes they are strongly programming you and conditioning you to be completely dependent on them. Is the reason as to why I've told you guys The moment you leave a narcissist and you go out there, your healing journey, you have got to embark on a serious healing process, because there's a lot of things that you go to heal. And this healing, again, I've always said, is going to take a very long period of time. But one of the things you're going to realize when you've left a narcissist, that you have been always dependent on people. You want to always borrow money from someone. You want always somebody to validate you. Sometimes maybe you have a social media platform. You're always seeking validation outside of you. So the narcissist wants you to depend on them. They always make sure that you never depend on yourself, because when you depend on yourself, then of course at that moment you do not need them in any way, shape or form. So that's the reason as to why they have got to make you a codependent. So a lot of people who are involved with narcissists, they also suffer with codependency. So you guys have heard about the codependency syndrome, which is very common within the victims of narcissistic abuse. Now the last one, which is number 13, the dangers of getting involved with a narcissist and staying around narcissists for a long period of time. It will be overweight, or rather underweight. Now, a lot of narcissists have got, you guys may not already know this. A lot of narcissists have got an eating disorder. So they are either eating a lot, or they are eating nothing at all, or sometimes they are eating the wrong things at the wrong time. You may sometimes find a narcissist in the middle of the night. It's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the night. They are downstairs eating an apple, or they are downstairs eating a piece of cake, or they are drinking a coffee in the middle of the night. Or sometimes they're bringing you a meal and the meal is completely imbalanced. Either it is the meal is half cooked, or the meal is overcooked. Or sometimes if they're giving you the right meal, is they're actually giving a lot of it, or sometimes they're giving you less of it. So it's the reason as to why when you're a victim of narcissistic abuse, you are going to experience alterances in your body weight. If a person, you're dealing with a narcissist and the narcissist is overfeeding you, you may actually become overweight. So you may sometimes see that you're overweight. I remember myself personally, there was a time where I reached about 120 kilos in that time. So I remember going to the doctor, and the doctor told me that actually I was overweight. You know what I mean? Because I remembered also many periods of times when I've been dealing with a narcissist, sometimes you will get a whole big plate of food, and you do not even know that food sometimes can feed 2 or 3 people. You do not know what to do with the food. Or sometimes people who are dealing, especially with the narcissistic parents, sometimes you will find them having a very, very small meal. You know what I mean? Sometimes the meal is not even enough for them to go to bed. So as a person as well who has been dealing, or who is dealing and who is staying very long periods of times around narcissists, be sure to become overweight, or sometimes you will be underweight. So like I've said, there is so many consequences and dangers of dealing with a narcissist. I've mentioned to you guys the 13 signs and the 13 dangers I know. If there is something else you guys might have experienced in your journey, you can also let us know in the comment section below, because it is going to help. These videos are helping people to understand the consequences of being around very low vibrational people and very negative people. So let us know what you think about this video. Of course, in the comment section below, let us know your thoughts. And until then, it's been a blessing, and always a blessing to have you guys on board. And I'll catch you guys in my next one. There's almost signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.